You seem like a fascinating character. Who is BJ Stagner?
I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy, an American that moved here, British citizen now, and came over here to plant churches, found what I consider to be the greatest gym in the world, and 6 months after moving here, just never left. And that's kind of who I am at the way. I'm a pastor, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a coach, I'm a PT, but just want to make a difference. That's all that it is with me, just putting it all together and trying to make a difference in this world.
Yeah, that's what fascinated me about you, is you are putting these things together. You're sort of putting that pastor side with the fitness and coaching side, and you're bringing it together. Is it called the ministry or something like that, or the fit? What's it called?
So the gym ministry is called Faith RX. It's of course it's coming off. It's an old CrossFit ministry that was connected. Becky Cosmell's the one that started it. Her and another fellow, and it kind of connected. The goal was to reach CrossFit athletes, and as you know, you go back to CrossFit RX, which means prescription. It comes from the Latin as written. And so when you see the RX on the workout, or you scaled the workout, so RX is like what the workout, the way it's written, you completed it, you finished it, you ticked the box. So when they started it, faith, so we look at what faith is, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, Hebrews 11:1, RX'd, past tense, like it's been done and dusted. Makes sense. So that's the ministry. That's what it's called. That's the ministerial side of the gym, the workout, the training, and this and that. Of course, I pastor 2 churches here, one in Cardiff and one up in the valleys. And we live about midway in between, closer. We live in Cardiff, Ratter area, and PT in the gym, overlook a lot of things, just try to keep the gym up and running the way it is and the way it should be. Rob's done a tremendous job there, and it's up to us and the team to make sure that thing keeps moving forward.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people would think that fitness and sort of like the church are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Why are they wrong?
Well, they're inherently wrong. And the problem is there's many people over the past years, that's exactly how they felt. They felt as if, the ministry and the gym can't go together, and they could not be more wrong. Matter of fact, Scripture has precluded that to show that, like this body, as a Christian, we know the Bible says, what? No, you're not that you're not your own. This body's been bought with a price, okay? So if I was to give you something that's mine, say if I was to give you my Yeti cup and here it is, I don't imagine, at least I hope you wouldn't, chuck it across the garden here, dent it up and scratch it up. You would take good care of it, wouldn't you? Because it's not yours. It's the same thing with this body. We are commanded, because we have one body, one life, one time. That hyphen between our birth year and our death date, that hyphen, that's our life. And we need to take care of this body that we've been given for this temporary season as best we can. And that starts in the gym. It starts with our 4 pillars, our nutrition, our movement, our stress management, and our connections. All of that comes into the gym, and it produces what we can do on the outside as well.
What's the biggest misconception that churchgoers would have about physical fitness and staying fit?
Some people look at it as idolizing the body. So they look at the aesthetic side of it. Now, I understand that. What are your intentions? Why are you training? Are you trying to look better, to get more likes, to get more ticks, to get more thumbs up, to get more people to stare at you? Are you going to take less clothes off? You're going to be immodest? And the reality is, so let's just be honest, the reality is that happens to many people. Many people do that. They start getting fit, they get cut, they get ripped, and they get less clothes, okay? I don't agree with that. Personally, I think you cover something up, you cover a gift up. That's what we do for Christmas, don't we? We wrap the gifts up because it's something that's precious. Again, I know that may sound slightly judgmental, but that will be the side of some of the people who are churchgoers would look at a gym, that it's a place where it's something that's just carnal, if you will. Carnal means fleshly. And I understand that side of it, but there's also a scriptural side of it that shows that we should support and take care of this body, and we need to make a decision as to how we're going to do that. We can do that here at our house, in our home gyms. You're losing that part of that healthy connections, that community. Or we can do it in a gym and just, be disciplined. Discipline's a big ideology between. The Bible calls it temperance. We can just be disciplined with our eyes, our minds, our mouth, what we do, what we say, and just get better in life. And here's the reality of it. As a churchgoer, if we don't get outside of the 4 walls of the church, how are we going to help the world? How are we going to help the community? I can't make my community better. I can't assist to make our people or help them to improve in their life and help them when they're down if I'm stuck behind the pulpit, 24/7. You got to get out in real life.
So what would be the aim then of the training? That if it's not about the ego, it's not about the vanity, is it to be the best version of yourself, to help yourself, but also help others, or Both.
Yeah. If you don't think about this, when you're on an airplane, you get ready to fly on the airplane, and the flight attendant comes up, and you know where I'm going with this. They start giving the tutorial and this and that. And what's one of the things they say about the oxygen mask? If the pressure loosens and the oxygen mask drops down, put yours on first and then assist others. Why? Because if you pass out because of oxygen deprivation, you can't help those next to you. So if I don't make sure that I am trying to be as fit as I can be, as healthy as I can be, I understand things happen, accidents happen, issues happen, disease happens, all of those things happen that are out of our control. But there are some things that are in our control, and because they are, we should maximize our effort to improve them every single day. And the main reason, I need to do it for myself. I need to do it for my family, and I need to do it for someone else. So, again, you take the vanity out of it, you take, those aspects out of it. The getting better is you're just getting better every single day, just a small percent every day, so that I can reach over there and help you be a little bit better, help you reach your goals. What's going to happen? You're going to do the same thing to another person and another person and another person. And that's really how the world should work. That's how our connections should work in our life.
You coach CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not CrossFit anymore, so we're Hyrox now. And
is it CrossFit? It is CrossFit.
Yeah, we still got a taste of CrossFit in there. We're not an affiliate anymore.
So you can't say the name?
I don't think so. So we are a Hyrox affiliate. I'm still a CrossFit trainer, but I don't think I can say the name without us being an affiliate either. I don't know. I don't know how the rules are working anymore. But we're a general population gym. We're trying to hit every single corner and edge that there is, from moms to fathers to children to youth to rugby clubs to the general population, the secretary, the home mother, everything. We're trying to hit and help people's life improve. So that's the goal, because that's everyday life, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. But I want you to put the big debate to rest now. Hyrox versus CrossFit. What's the difference and which one's better? I don't want to get you in trouble.
Oh, my soul, you're going to get me in trouble. So which one's better? General population, Hyrox is better. For runners, Hyrox is better. For those who want to improve in what we call virtuosity, which is doing common things uncommonly well, which CrossFit is built around, from the Olympic lifting, from getting stronger, from being fit, to be able to do in a great long run, in your life, CrossFit's going to be more applicable to those type of people. But it depends on what your goals are as well. Is your goals to be able to run, the 8K and do all of the things in between there, like in Hyrox, and have that great event, which if you've seen the events are massive, man. It's a big community. It's high energy. It's a field day. It's a wonderful thing to do. There is a lot of running in there. It's a runner's paradise, whereas CrossFit not so much is. It's a movement area. It's a place where the gymnast is going to do the better score. They're going to hit the better goal. I do think it's a little bit, CrossFit's a little curtailed to the shorter people in the world. I will say that, but you can't argue with the fitness that CrossFit produces. My personal opinion is this. I think for someone who wants to be ultra serious in being hyper competitive, I think CrossFit is better. I think for someone who wants to do general mobility, general movement, and general exercises along with that extensive running, because you can't argue the running is hard, Hyrox is going to be better. So it really depends on what your goals as to what is better, if you will.
Yeah, I suppose it comes down to you. It's funny that you said that CrossFit is sort of better for the shorter people. But I know exactly what you mean, because they're always so stacked. Why are CrossFit athletes always so jacked? What is it about the training?
Well, it's high intensity. The training is high intensity, but here's also the thing. When you're looking at the CrossFit athletes, they are jacked, and they're jacked at a certain degree. They're taking care of what needs to be taken care of on the back end. That's what we miss. We miss 75% of their life, 80% of their life, which is nutrition. Nutrition is what is helping you cut the fat, build the muscle, and things along like that. The workouts are complementary of all that, and you can't get stronger, better, faster, more agile, all of that without the training, but you can't also reach the goals that you need to and have that appearance of the jacked CrossFitter without having the proper fuel in that body. That's the key. And most of those guys, most people who are in CrossFit, they are dedicated and they are disciplined, at least for a number of years, very disciplined to the sport itself, disciplined to the activities, even the everyday gym goer who has found CrossFit, because just what CrossFit produced. CrossFit produced something for people like myself, who is a former athlete. it gives you that team mindset because you're sweating in there. You are going to dark places in the gym, but you're doing it together one with another. And man, it gives you, I mean, the Kool-Aid is drank very, very quick. The shoes, the shorts, the tops, all of those things. And so, you know, when you get involved in it, you're doing the five workouts a week, you're taking the 2 days off, but you want to make sure you maintain everything so you're getting the proper nutrition, the proper fuel, because people are really dedicated. Part-time CrossFitters, they're going through the motions. They're doing what they can do. That's why we had the scale versions for it. But they're doing what they can do. And the biggest, I think, attribute of that is they're moving. They're moving. Still part of that healthy lifestyle. It makes a difference in their life, and it does help them. They may never be in the games. They may never be on the posters or the telly or anything along that line. However, they're doing more than they were before. They're getting up off of the sofa, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's what's important, you know, today. But that's one of the reasons they're jacked, man. It's because they're dedicated. It comes down to that other D word, discipline, man.
And discipline. So what's one thing that the everyday athlete is missing if they're lacking this strength building, if they're lacking size building? What do you see is the most common thing that people are lacking, that if they just introduced it, they would see massive gains? Typically,
ill choices. That's usually what we don't do enough on the back end. Stress management, we don't do enough for recovering. We don't do enough for our fuel, our nutritional replacement in the body to build those muscles back up to when you're torn down on the floor, but then we don't do enough on the back end. So in other words, somebody comes into a gym, with a CrossFit or Hyrox gym, the workout's on the board, the workout is being written for them, the coach is telling them what to do. They're being told every step of the way for 1 hour in that gym, and they are working hard, they're sweating, everybody's laying on the floor when it's done and dusted, making the sweat angels on the floor and all that. And that's all great and wonderful. But when they leave, okay, what choices are they making to support what they just perform? Are they getting a 20-minute sauna? Are they jumping in the cold plunge? Are they taking in the 30 grams of protein in their bodies immediately within 30 minutes so they can replenish the muscles? Are they hydrating enough? Which is another element of our life that we miss constantly. So that's, if I had to narrow it down to one thing, I'm going to say nutrition. And I'm going to say taking care of your body on the back end outside of the gym, because what you do outside of the gym is going to complement you what you do in the gym, and vice versa. And what does that look like then, taking care of the body? What are they doing? You talked about sort of a post-workout shake. You know, what does their nutrition have to look like? How does their sleep have to look like? What does that look like, taking the backhand stuff? The average person needs, there's required 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night to have their body rejuvenated where it needs to be. Creatine's a big push when we talk about supplements. The only supplement I take other than just protein during the shakes and whatnot and some breakfasts is creatine. I take it in my coffee first thing in the morning. Even the cognitive benefits that you have from creatine today are tremendous. You know, first thing in the morning with my first coffee, I can sense a difference and tell a difference. So those are the nutritional aspects. But then when you look at a point with all the metrics we have today, all the data that is driven, is knowing how much you weigh, getting an in-body done or a body analysis somewhere, knowing what your fat percentage is, knowing what your lean muscle mass is, knowing what your adipose fat is and your visceral fat, and then taking those measures to lose it. And how you do that is not cutting all the calories down. I was talking to someone the other day. They said, "Hey, BJ, I'm taking in 1,350 calories a day." I said, "An infant can't survive on that. That's why you have more fat on your body than you do muscle. Your body's in a catabolic state. Your body is built to survive. So we have to either trick it or complement it, and we can do both at the same time. So you need that high protein diet. You need that diet that comes in that is based upon not only your basal metabolic rate, but it's based on your calorie intake and your calorie out. At the end of the day, if you get the calories out and the calories in, you're rebuilding those muscles. That's the simple definition of it, and the simple ease, if you will. But starving the body is going to kill the body. I believe in 5 to 6 settings a day: breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, breakfast, snack, and then break all of your caloric intake down into those 5 to 6 settings, but make sure you hit your proteins, and then you can make it up on your fats and your carbs, but make sure you hit your protein, because that's the building block of muscles, and that's what's going to help you recover and reach the goals that you really need to reach. What does it look like when someone's not getting those calories in and they're still trying to change? So what happens is the body and the body analysis produce, you can see the fat. in the clothes. They're in the bathroom or whatever. They're looking in the mirror, and they're like, I'm just not looking like Josie down at the gym. I'm not looking like Jim over there. What's going on? What's wrong with me? Well, your body's holding on to fat because the body's built to survive. The body is going to burn muscle in that catabolic state unless you put enough food into it so that it can burn those food and live off of that. So your building blocks are going to be your protein, your energy you want to pull from the fats, if you will. You don't want to store the carbohydrates, so that's just converted into sugars and converted into fats as well. So that's what it looks like. It looks like knowing what you want, knowing what your goals are. So typically we want to make sure there's enough protein based upon how many kilos a person weighs. You'll look it up and you'll see the general settings are like 1.8 gram of protein, per kilo. I'm quite protein biased, or I'll lean toward 2.5 to 2.8 if I have to, so I believe in high protein. So, but I also I'm not a big carb eater. Try not to be.
Yeah. But you're a big guy. Like, what does your meals look like then throughout the day on average?
So I take in about 4,200 to 4,400 calories a day.
How much?
42 to 4,400, and but they're broken down into 6 steps though, and so 3 of things are going to be what I call a snack, which can be a protein shake. It can be a tub of yogurt with fruit, but mixed with protein in it as well. Cottage cheese is another one from my snacks, but my meals are going to be pretty well set. My breakfast meal, I have this little paleo concoction of a porridge, with coconut flakes and all this and that, and chia seeds and things with a little bit of vanilla whey protein that's mixed into it. And that's a great little setting, but that's about 650 calories that there alone, just in the breakfast. My lunch is usually going to be, your standard chicken, a little bit of potatoes, greens if my wife makes me eat them. I got to force feed me the vegetables, but and then usually the same thing for dinner is that chicken or that steak or that beef type of meal. I'll tell you what I had for a snack this morning when I got home from shift. I think it was about 10 o'clock. Is I had a 500 gram ribeye and 5 eggs. That was my mid-morning snack. That was lush.
Yeah, if you only we could eat that all the time, like Jesus,
Yeah, and again, I personally think, again, this comes down to the affordability, but you eat 2 steaks a day and some eggs. There you go. You're going to get your protein intake in there.
Oh, you'd be getting that in. Do you meal prep at all then? How do you set all this up? Are you doing it the night before?
Depends on the day, because we run a fairly busy schedule. We're 7 days a week and we're flat wide open. So like yesterday we were up training way early in the morning. I was in the school doing Bible assembly at 9:15. Then we had 8 fitness classes in the school after that. I had a meeting with the head teacher in between during lunch, and then I had a meeting with another guy from the council in the same school right afterwards, and then I got church in the nighttime. So if I know a day like that is coming, we meal prep everything the night before. So we get everything together between snacks, breakfasts, dinners, everything, you name it, protein shakes, whatever we need. It goes in a huge little lunchbox that we take up to the church, and that's with us the whole time. On the average day, we're usually about a meal and a snack ahead of ourselves. So the breakfast will be made while it's lunch, and the mid-morning snack is made. And then after we finish eating lunch, my wife or I will prep the dinner as well as the snack as well. Snacks are easy. A monkey can do that. We can go in there and throw it together and get it done. We don't have to measure as much as we used to, because we've been doing this, and frankly, we pretty much eat the same thing. So we know about what we're eating. That's why I said 42 to 4,400. Like today, obviously, is going to be a little bit more because of the ribeye that I had earlier, and I'm planning on making chicken and potatoes tonight. And they'll probably make me have asparagus, but I like asparagus. I don't like many other greens, but
yeah, asparagus is all right. Yeah, it makes your wee smell though, doesn't it? Like, is that what it says? Like, yeah. There's a lot of meat there, so you better be a carnivore, like if you're getting into this diet, I guess. Yeah.
And the thing about it is, again, I talked about choices just a moment ago. You asked about what are some ill choices that people make, that they've hit that plateau. We've seen people in the gym for 6 and 7 and 8 years. They look the same they did the day they walked in. And it's not because of the program and not because of the coaching. It's just because of choices, what you're doing on the back end. Mm-hmm. And so, discipline is not about just doing what you need to do to reach the goals that you desire. It's about doing refusing not to do what you want to do so that you can reach those goals as well. And that's what discipline is by definition. So I think you got to watch those night outs with the boys, and that's one of the biggest detriments right there, just in all fairness. So
I know that for sure, because when a pint is like 200 calories, You sink 8 of those in a night. That's 1,600 calories. Then you're having the kebab. But then in the morning, you're having the big breakfast. You're skipping your gym session. And I don't know about you, but my hangovers last about 5 days now. So I try to...
Well, I don't drink at all. So
Not at all.
No.
You're lucky.
No.
Yeah, I try not to... Well, I've hit 40 now. So I'm just too old. It just takes too much out of me. There's a big cost. If I want a night out of drinking, I've got to have a week to recover afterwards.
Do you know what a hangover is?
No,
So a hangover is dehydrated brain.
Yeah.
So when any drop of any alcohol that goes into the system, it doesn't matter if it's cough medicine, the ADH, the antidiuretic hormone, which regulates your fluid in your body, it shuts down. It turns off. That's why you're weeing all night long when you're drinking. But if you you couldn't drink a 12-pack of soda in an hour if your life depended on it, but you could drink 8 pints of lager or something. It's because the body, you're just weaning it off. Well, you're draining the body of hydration. So when you wake up in the morning, your brain is literally dehydrated. That's where the pain and the suffering comes from. And that's why when you take the water in, you get that quick little buzz in the head, because that your brain is the first thing that is hydrated. Last thing is your voice, your vocal cords is hydrated in your body.
So you got the croaky voice. So you get the croaky voice. So what's the best hangover cure then?
Don't drink.
But if I had to, if I really, my life was on the line, I had to go up the pub, I had to have 10 pints and watch the football, what's the best hangover cure? How am I curing that?
You're walking me into a corner.
How am I hydrating myself?
Well, the best thing to do, and I do this in the morning without drinking, is your electrolytes. First thing in is 500 milliliters of water with electrolytes, and then after that's 500 milliliters of water with my vitamins. I have my vitamins in a little sachet, group that I take in. So the best thing is to hydrate yourself as best as possible. Get as much sodium into the body as you can. Now that's just good for general health as well, every single day. But if somebody put a gun to your head and you are forced to do...
They forced me, BJ. They forced me.
And that's what you do, is you hydrate yourself. But I'm not saying that's a remedy for it all. The best thing is don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly learning that now. Like, I tend to drink probably once a quarter now, and that's special occasions. And if I had to, it's not sustainable. Now I'm 40 and also a parent. You just can't do it with your kids. Like they deserve better. They deserve a present parent, and when you're hungover, it's not there.
That's actually a great point to put it. I like that.
Yeah, it's been the biggest eye opener for me. Yeah. Is they're not getting the best out of me, and then that's not fair on them.
No, that's awesome. I like to hear that.
You've mentioned a few things about discipline and stuff, and I will get onto that. But I've got 2 more questions.
Sure.
If you had to design, you could only do one workout for the rest of your life. Whenever you're doing it, you could only do one. How would you design that session? What would that sort of 45-minute, hour session look like? Right, I know everyone here hates adverts, but this one actually keeps the light on here at Rokman, so bear with me. Rokman runs monthly online running and fitness challenges for people short on time that still want a proper challenge to spike their motivation. You get the buzz of race day without waiting for a far-off event to come around, with no travel and no extortionate entry fees. Just real tests that you can fit in and around your life anytime, anywhere, all year round. And if you're not quite ready for a challenge yet, we've got free, no-nonsense running and strength plans that you can grab via the link down below. Now, let's get back to the episode.
If I had one choice of one benchmark workout that I could do for the rest of my life, for me, it's Linda. That's what it is. 10 down to 1, bench, deadlift, and cleans. I'm going to do that every single day.
So what is that? Yeah. So what's that? 10?
10 down to 1, so it's 55 reps each. It's body weight bench press. It's 1.5 body weight deadlift, and it's 0.75 body weight cleans. 10 down to 1. So that's Linda all day long. Yeah. Secondly will be DT, and I love DT. If I'm going to put a workout together for the general population, and what would that look like? What would a great general population workout going to be? I'm going to have our strength is going to be squats. Squats is the test of life. The bar on the shoulders is what it's going to hold you down, and you got to drive it up, and you got to work through it. So it's going to be squats in the strength session, and from that point forward, it's going to be an upper, a mid, and an upper and a gymnastics and a lower work throughout the session itself. The studies have showed that a 12-minute AMRAP is the greatest time level for a workout, the greatest benefit level for that particular AMRAP. And so what I would do personally is I would work on an upward scale between gymnastics of muscle ups, bar muscle ups, and this is just me because I just love them, you know what I'm saying? And then I would definitely have bench in there, and I have clean and jerk in there for your movement, and then I would have the core work of toe to bars. So trying to stay off of a lot of other work that you would do, say in a strength session. You got your squats over here, and then we're going to hit our clean and jerk, hit your gymnastics with your toe to bars, and either bar muscle ups. So that's something that I would work around there. And then for the cardio section of it, just do 12 counts of ski. So 12 reps of each, 12, 12, 12, 12 minutes. That's what I would do if I had to program that for someone, and that's what they got to do for the rest of their life. That's a full body workout, everything that they would need. And somebody might ask you, well, how are you going to use a muscle up? If you got to run from someone, you can jump on a roof and you can keep moving and go. So
yeah, but yeah, if you've done a bit of shoplifting on the side, you can get away from them. You mentioned muscle ups and was it toes to bar? Are they the hardest moves to master?
Muscle ups are considered the snatch of the gymnastic moves, just your standard muscle ups. As a rule, textbook, we're told that ring muscle ups are easier. That didn't work with me. Bar muscle ups came easier to me. But toe to bars should not be a hard move to master. What is hard to master is the preliminary move for a toe to bar, as well as a kipping or a butterfly pull-up, and that's the kipping move in itself. So people can do toe to bars. They can bring their toes from the floor to the bar, or at least toe to target. The problem is recycling them and getting the kipping action the way it should be, because most people lose the shoulders. 10, 12 years ago when they went through the courses and taught the coaches, they said initiate with the shoulders. The problem with that is you made a pendulum effect with the feet, and that was changed later on in the gymnastics class to where you want to move with the core. So you want to try to take your rib cage and your pelvis and shorten that distance to create that hollow hold position, and then you go into that back arch position, but you want active shoulders the whole time. So you want to strengthen the scapulae, be able to detract the scapulas down, hold that position of active shoulders, initiate everything from the core, and move that kipping movement, and that's going to get you the toe to bars. Again, anybody can bring their toe to the bar, but it's recycling them. So I don't think it's the hardest to master. It's the kipping movement in there. That's the issue that most people struggle with.
What's the biggest mistake you see people making then?
Lose the shoulders. They go soft in the shoulders. Go soft.
So you're just hanging essentially then?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So when you dead hang, you turn the chains off, the anterior posterior chains off. You can't control the movement, and you basically turn into a pendulum like on a clock, a grandfather clock. And so I tell people, the minute you lose your shoulders, drop down, shake it out, get back down, get back up there again. And just kind of reset the mindset and the momentum for it. That's the big thing.
What do people get wrong about discipline?
They assume they're disciplined. If you were to ask the average Joe on the street today, are you disciplined? They would quickly say yes. And one of the reasons they would quickly say yes, because they've never been asked that question, number one. Number two, our default in our life when someone asks a question typically is to say yes, when it's a question such as that, especially in a positive mindset. So people assume they're disciplined, but the issue is when you begin to look at their life, and what I use the word defaults. I spoke about this the other day in the videos. Our defaults is what we do when no one looks. So we default to who and what we truly are behind closed doors, okay? And that's where discipline is really and truly tested. The simple definition of discipline is doing the things that you don't want to do to reach the goals that you've set, and not doing the things you want to do in order to reach those goals you desire. That's what the simple definition. If you can do that, if you can master that, all the talent in the world will not replace discipline in our life. It's saying no more than it is saying yes, and it is bringing your body into subjection. That's another Bible verse there. Bringing the body into subjection so that the mind can adapt to where you need to be. Most people think old dogs can't be taught new tricks, and that's not true. Neuroplasticity has proven that not only can we increase the gray matter, but we can relearn and readapt in our life. So it's making those needed decisions and choices in our life in order to reach that goal. And that's where discipline is. That one mistake is people assuming they have it. But when they're tested in the midst of behind closed doors, they'll go to the bag of crisps before they'll go to the pack of chicken to prep it because it's quick and it's easy. That's not discipline. Discipline is throwing the crisp in the rubbish bin, getting the chicken out, prep it, cook it, 20 minutes later, have your meal. That's discipline.
Does that come down to accountability then? Because if you had someone there watching you, you'd go, oh, like if you had BJ in your kitchen and I went for the crisps and I saw you, I'd be like, all right, yeah, no, BJ, I was just putting them away. I'll go and get the chicken. But once you walk out those doors and it's down to me, so is accountability a big part of discipline?
Accountability is a big part if you have somebody that can be accountable for you. Okay, that goes back again to that default. We default to who and what we are behind closed doors. There's a guy called D.L. Moody who said that character is what a man does in the dark. And that's what our character is truly, truly tested. Little things in life, I think, improves our discipline. I'm a big advocate. Maybe you've seen this on the videos. I think the trolley at the grocery store,
Right, yeah.
that's a test of a person's character.
Okay.
Are you going to walk it back in the middle of the rain and put it back where it needs to go, or are you going to leave it in the car park for someone else to do, for someone else to give? Discipline says, you know what? This is my trolley. I've taken this. I've used this. I'm going to go put it back where it needs to go. I'm not going to leave it for someone else. No different than re-racking the weights at the gym and putting things back where they go. That's the true test of a person's character. Anyone who leaves the trolley in the car park and who doesn't re-rack their weights and leaves things out, they have an entitled mindset.
Scumbags, BJ. They're scumbags, BJ. Scumbags.
Hey, yeah, there you go. You're saying what's in my mind. I didn't want to drop.
I'll say it for you.
Drives me absolutely, bonkers. It does, because I believe, if you take it, put it back. If you open it, close it. Everything has a place. There's a place for everything. But that's that test for discipline right there. Is what you do when no one's watching. Okay, and so accountability is a great deal. We actually, you mentioned challenge earlier. My first book is called Renewed, and it's a transformational challenge. It's based on a 66-day challenge of 4 areas in your life, and that's mental discipline, emotional stability, physical well-being, and spiritual strength. And you choose one area in those 4 categories, and you work on it for 66 days. In the early days when we started doing these, we have accountability partners, okay? And so every single day I had to, if you and I were partners, at the end of the day, I would send you a list of what my 4 categories are, and I'd have a tick mark or an X mark on there, whether I hit it. And when you're going through the day, I know I got to text Terry tonight. I got to let him know, man. And I don't want that red X there. I want that green tick box, And so those things help. But the reality is on day 67, 68, and 69, if you're truly transformed, you're going to do that without having to check in with Terry. So yes, accountability is a big, big key. There's got to be a time when you're eventually going to have to put your big boy trousers on, and you got to do it yourself. You got to be disciplined. You got to make that difference because you want to be better today than you were yesterday. And that's the simple answer to the whole thing is work the problem. What's the problem? We're the problem. I'm the problem. So I need to make myself better. Without Denise or Terry or whoever looking after me, I want to make it better here today. And that's where discipline falls into line.
That's true. Because I would say I'm not a disciplined person. I'm not. I am absolutely terrible. But how I counteract that, because I know I'm not, is I set my environment up so I don't have those weaknesses, or I make it easy to keep to sort of my schedule or what I've planned doing, or I make it hard to not do the bad things. Does that make sense? So, for example, chocolate crisps in the house, we just don't buy it. We just don't buy it. So how much would be sort of setting up your environment if we're not disciplined? Is that the first place to go?
That's the first
just take temptation away?
Take it away. Yep. I'll tell you what, my dad asked me this when I was in uni. He said, B, how do you stay out of a bar fight? You know what my answer was? My answer was, just be nice, I'd be kind, I do this, I do that. He goes, no, son, you stay out of a bar. So you cut the head off where it is. You cut the head off where the problem is, and it's that simple. So it's like, if I struggle with the snack times, and we all do. I mean, here's the thing: is none of us, we look at these athletes today, and we look at people who have, they're what we want to be. Say, we look at these people, and you're like, I want to be like that when I'm that old. I mean, I want to be strong. I want to do this. Well, they struggle with the same things that everybody else does. So the perfect thing that you said is you set the environment in order. I don't want to eat the crisps, therefore don't buy the crisps. I don't want to eat the biscuits, we don't buy the biscuits. I'm not a soda drinker anyway, so that's not a temptation for me. I literally drink water and coffee and electrolytes. That's it. So that's a blessing. I take that on. I don't have a temptation to drink alcohol. I don't have a temptation to drink soda. None of those things. So that's a huge help for me. Some people do. They have that temptation. They like it. They want it. Just don't buy it. That's the simple, and you say, well, but I'm walking down the aisle. Don't walk down the aisle. So everything that you can do is exactly what you said, is you control the environment. Because at the end of the day, you're the human. You control where you are. And most of our life, or much of our life, is a result of reactions that we have. Cost and consequences all come from a choice that we make. And we can choose that aisle over there, the crisp and the snacks and this and that, or we can choose the aisle over there with the steak and the chicken in there and the fruit and the veg. That comes down to choices. Second thing on that is taking the proper channels to maintain those choices. I work every day off the tick box. So I'm very disciplined. My life is ordered by my day timer. It's like when you and I talked about booking this in, I put you in the book, there you are, you're locked in, here we go. My appointment before that was here, my morning was here. Everything has a tick box, and I prioritize my week based upon urgency, emergency, and importance. So what has to be done on Monday, there it is on Monday. What has to be done on Tuesday. So if I have 60 things to do, which is typical in a given week, just because I finish at 3 and not 5 on a Monday with the list I have, it doesn't mean I borrow from Tuesday. See, discipline also is not doing things as well as doing them. You see what I'm saying? And I break it upon there. That way you stay mentally aware, you stay, physically aware, you're emotionally aware, you're keeping that mental discipline where it belongs, and that's driving the bus.
Yeah. You've earned that rest then. You're not filling up that rest time with tasks from Tuesday. You've earned that rest, and you can actually enjoy that rest. And a little pat on the back for you.
Absolutely.
It's fun. I just want to mention, actually, so what did your father say to you? He said, what's the best way to stay out of the bar fight? Stay out of the bar. Stay out of the bar. Yeah. Do you know what my father said to me when I started going to the pubs?
What's that?
He said, I think I started going up when I was about 16. It's a bit naughty in the UK. You've got to be 18. And he said, if you think you're old enough to go up the pub, then you're old enough to get punched in the face. Wise words.
Very wise words, yeah.
What's wise words?
At least you knew what to expect, right?
Yeah, it's the risks. I knew the risks. I just thought it's quite funny because they are both on opposite ends of the spectrum. Those two areas of advice there. It's funny. Yeah. What does being tough? But when does being tough become a cover for avoiding deeper issues?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. That's a deep question. This is actually something that I'm dealing with a couple of people right now in some counseling sessions, that the ego and the bravado is on the outside. Now, I want to throw a disclaimer out there. We are bombarded today with pseudo-masculinity. The louder I can be, the more women I can do I can tag, the more, there's a group of guys, I'm not going to name names, there's a group of guys today that have all the media in the world, they have all the attention in the world, and they're teaching these young blokes, they're teaching these guys, this is the way to be. This is manhood, this is masculinity, and this is not, okay? Not at all. This is the masculinity, the toughness behind deeper issues. So, oftentimes what you find with someone who has that swollen ego, they're hiding behind some hurt and some trauma in their life. And what they're doing is they're not just compartmentalizing it, but they're pressing it down. They're being taught, push it down, push it down, push it down. There is a time and a place when we push those things down, but there is also a time and a place to where we come together with another man, as the Bible tells us, okay, iron sharpeneth iron, so does a man sharpen the countenance of his friend, okay? We all need that one guy, all right? We need that one guy. I was told by a wise man that if you die and you can fill one hand with true friends, that you die a wealthy man. But we need that one man in our life that we can sit down and say, listen, here's my issue. This is where I am. And if you shed tears, you shed tears. There's nothing anti-masculine about shedding a tear. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when we look at that toughness that people are, that loudness and that toughness and this and that, and they're hiding behind it, that's the issue. They're trying to cover something up. Now, you got to dig sometimes, That comes back to what you mentioned just a moment ago about your children, is being present, okay? Mm-hmm. So do I believe men should be tough? Yeah, we should. Do I think we should be protective of our homes and our family? Most certainly. Should we provide for them? Absolutely. That's our role and our job. As a matter of fact, Ephesians 5 tells us as the man that we are to be the sacrificial position in the home. Give himself. Just as Jesus gave himself for the church, we are to give ourselves for our wife, okay? My role in the home is sacrifice, all right? And I'll do whatever needs to be done in our house to make sure it's protected, to make sure it grows, to make sure it develops, and it is what it needs to be. The foundation is strong. The Bible calls it the strong man. So that toughness sometimes being hidden behind or hiding what is behind the issues over here has to be peeled away. But it can only be peeled away by being present and understanding where people are today. And that's just going to come by building a relationship. And that's where that is. And that's, I don't know, I'm hoping I'm answering your question, because the question was, when does toughness become a facade for deeper issues? I think it quite often does. But there are some telltale signs that you find. When you ask a question, somebody really quickly deflects that. So those who their go-to is deflection, there's a deeper problem that's there. There's a deeper issue that's going on. When they direct your statement or your question or just a conversation toward other people, if you keep an eye out of people who's always kind of a critical eye, always finding faults and problems in the surrounding areas or other people's lives, there's a deeper issue that is going on there, and they're bringing that toughness or that hypocritical ideology. They're bringing that out into people's mind to try to hide what they're dealing with.
I like that. So it is this deflecting that you're seeing. It's, don't look at me, look at that guy over there. So is it something that you can't see when you're in it? Do you have to rely on other people to see it, or is it something you can see and recognize within yourself? And if so, how would you do that?
So denial is where you are, what you're talking about. Denial is a massive, massive area in the neurological side of our world. So what denial tells you, I'm good, man. And that's a lot of our answers. Hey, how things going? How are you doing? I'm good. And I say that all the time, and 9 times out of 10, I'm good, I just keep moving on. It's not hiding anything, but yeah, I'm good. I'm going. I got the next thing to do. But denial will completely cause you to have a delusional view of where you really are and who you really are. We don't see it because that's what denial's job is. Denial's job is to cover up what you basically need, and you're covering it up by that pseudo-masculinity. And a lot of times you can't see it until it's brought out. Now, here's the caveat of that. Denial is always covering up something that is an action-based or action-first behavioral action addiction, if you will. So whatever problem, whatever issue that's going on, whether it's a marital problem, a family problem, a work problem, a personal problem, that is hidden down inside, and denial saying, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I don't need to deal with this, let's just cover that up. Well, what's going on here is the brain is literally changing to remove the lens off what is truly going on, and you're focused on everything else, and you can't see it. Somebody has to bring it up to you. Somebody has to mention it to you, or at a given time, it has to break you, and that's the problem.
It becomes your reality. You actually change your reality. Perception is reality, and you're changing your brain, so it becomes your reality. So it becomes your truth. So you cannot see it when you're in it. Yeah.
You really are. And that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. Again, that's why I go back, man, when we talk about connections with healthy habits and healthy lifestyles. At least one guy. You got to have that one guy that you can go to. And I say this with myself. I say it in the gym as a chaplain. I say it in the church as a pastor. I say it to my family as a leader in the home, as a husband, as a father. And I say it to a friend, to whomever I'm around. I'm like a good dog. I come when I'm called. And I mean that. Because here's the deal, Terry. We have men that are hurting out there today. We've had an entire generation that was lost, and they have this misconception of what manhood should be. And it's because we're inundated today by so many different perspectives of what it should or shouldn't be, and this and that, and and that's just simply not true. It's just not true at all. And we need somebody to have that perspective and go, hang on, let's take a step back here. Let's peel some layers off. It's okay to be vulnerable, and then after we're finished with this, we're going to be stronger, you're going to be better, and we're going to take the first step forward to improvement today. Yeah.
How has being a coach helped you become a better pastor? Have I said that right? Have I said pastor?
Yeah. You're exactly right.
So how has being a coach helped you become a better pastor?
That's a great question, because in all fairness, it should be reversed, but I think I believe it has helped me. I pastored 12 years in the States. In that period of time, I coached sports. I coached softball, baseball, American football. It was youngers. I was involved in high school, coaching a high school team at one time. I was helping players here and there. But being on the gym floor is a different perspective than coaching those teams. Still a leader in the community, still this and that. And I never really I thought then, to be honest with you, because I was the pastor, because I was that man, and with compassion, and you have to exercise these things, that it was helping me be a coach in the field. Coming here and coaching here in this country, and especially in Ion, which again, like I said, it's the greatest gym in the world. It's home. When you look at it, I believe, in all fairness, that coaching on the floor has improved my ability to pastor people. You have to be able to direct people and guide people and see what their needs are, see what their shortcomings are, see where they need to improve, but at the same time, see how they have improved and how well they're doing and what their go-to signs are. Coaching has improved that. From looking at certain cues that we need to give to make this correction, that correction, a small little change here, intricate little changes, massive changes, but being involved with the people, not being afraid to go up to somebody who's brand new, say, hey, my name's BJ, what's your name? Hope you have a great day today. If you need anything at all, you just let me know. But then coming back around and following up with them, how does the moves feel? How does this do? You're personally involved with the people, and you're involved in a very intense manner as well. Somebody, when I'm on the gym floor, I'm a fairly intense guy. Then I get into the pulpit, I get into the church, and I'm not that same guy, but until I start preaching, then it gets a little bit exciting. I'm not the moan and groan guy. That by God's grace, I'll never be that guy on the gym or the pulpit. But I'm not the happy clappy guy running around. I mean, it's for me, everything's square and true. But I believe coaching has helped me interact with our people in the church and help them in ways that before I just assumed that I was helping. I think it opened up a door of vulnerability, both on my part and their part, coming from the gym floor into the pulpit. It's been great, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side, how's being a pastor helped you become a better coach?
Well, it's helped me that because I'm not afraid to speak. Obviously, you're learning that now. So I'm not afraid to walk up to somebody who I don't know, introduce myself, who I am. That comes from pastoring. Your normal pastor will walk around the church, shake hands, welcome everybody there. You always have to be hospitable, and that's actually a requirement. We ought to be hospitable, apt to teach. Serving the Lord must be a litany of different things. But I have no quorums whatsoever walking up to whoever it is, no matter what they look like, no matter what they've said or how they act, shaking their hand, give them a fist bump, give them a hug, introducing myself to them. Obviously afterwards, give them a hug after I introduce myself. But you know what I'm saying? I have no problems with that. That's how the ministerial side of it, I think, has helped me in coaching. Is there's just no reservation for me to go up to anybody and talk to them, which I think helps, because people have to be included. But also, like I said, I was a practitioner in the States. All right, so I was in prosthetics and orthotics for 20 plus years with my practices. When I was a resident, we was 100 miles an hour. I had 32 patients a lot of times a day, even as years later on. Every time I went into that patient room, okay, they had to feel like they're the only one in the office. Okay, when you're on the gym floor and you're conversing with people and you're talking to them, that one person that I'm talking to, they need to feel like they're the only one in the gym. And then the next one needs to feel the same way, the same way, and the same way. Same thing in the church. When I sit there and I talk to our organist and she has a question to ask me or a prayer request, I need to focus on her and not be distracted by what's going on around me. All of those three things have complemented one another that I have found that even though there's a load of people around, where there's 40 people in the class, 32 people on a patient list that day, or 30 some odd people in the church, is you need to focus on each individual one as if they're the only one there so you can help them and meet their needs at the present moment.
What's the importance of that?
The importance of it is make a difference in that day. We all need that. Whether people like to admit this or not, people want two things. They want to feel important, okay, or needed, and they want to be heard. People want to be heard. 4 characteristics that we see in people as far as love goes, and I always characterize them as animals, all right? You got the fish. The fish don't care to be touched. They don't want to be stroked. They don't want to be talked to. They just want you to clean that tank. That's all they want, services, right? You got the cat, right? Cat wants to be fed when they want to be fed, all right? They don't care about you. They want to be stroked when it's on their dime, okay? So they have needs. You got the dog. The dog wants to be talked to. You go home to your dog, you say, hey, boy, you're so good to see you. And he's wagging his tail, he's excited. But then there's the canary. And the canary doesn't care who cleans their cage. Canary doesn't care who feeds them. The canary doesn't want to listen to you. The canary wants to sing. Canary wants to be heard. And I believe there's a quality in every single one of us in our life today. We want to be needed, and we want to be heard. And that's the two things that people need to know, that when they come to the gym floor, when they come through the patient room, or they come through the church, you're needed, you have worth, we love you, and I want to hear what you have to say.
I love that. And I think it's so true. And with men and women, and I've always said this about men, is men always want to feel strong, capable, and useful. And it just sort of aligns with what you're saying there. It's sort of being heard and sort of feeling important. And I think there's a severe lack currently in it, or people are lacking that feeling of importance and being valuable and having that purpose. What do you feel that the modern sort of self-improvement world gets wrong nowadays? And what does it get right?
What it gets wrong, well, let me tell you what it gets right. It has a great formula. The formula is tremendous. It really is. The formula is that it has about cutting things out in the daytime, in your day, improving your day, managing your time, creating good habits, and all this. Even though some of the things are built on facade, we've heard the gurus get up 21 days to change your habit. That's neurologically impossible. It takes 66 days for the hormones to be produced to actually increase a true habit and break another one. And that's a conversation probably for another time. But that it's scientifically impossible for that. So the formula they have, take action first, do this, make the changes in your life, that's great. What they get wrong is it's superficial, okay? And, it's kind of like some takeout food, man. It tastes really, really good going down. But then about 5 minutes later, you're hungry again. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what happens with it. What they get wrong is that this is going to work for you. This is how you do it. And they lay it out, but there's no substance to it, and it doesn't stick. So what happens? Well, book number 2 comes out. All right. Speech number 2 comes out. Speech number 3. Self-help books are the leading selling books every single year. There's thousands of them reproduced every single year. Now, I'm saying that being an author of a so-called self-help book. It's not. It's a transformational book, but nonetheless. My second book is Be Where Your Feet Are, which gives 10 principles of living in an unstable world based on statements that men have made to me in my life over the course of my formative years. But I'm saying all that to make this point. What most people get wrong is it's all based on something of weak substance. And so it gets lost in the shuffle. So it works real well today, and it works well tomorrow, and it works well the next day. But there's no follow-up principles. The follow-up principles is where most people in the self-help world, that's where they fall short. Yes, they can say the right things here. It's what to do. But how to do it is where it gets lost. And that's the primary, to sum the simple answer up, they do a great job in what, they do a very poor job in how. And by the way, that wasn't a plug for my books. I'm sorry about that.
No, plug away, man. At the end, I'll ask you about stuff. So absolutely plug away. If you can get a couple of sales out of it, that's fantastic.
We got 2 more books coming out this year.
I might pick one up, actually. I'll pick one up, definitely. That's 66, because it made sense when you said the 66 days to change a habit. I was like, that's why it's the 66-day challenge, right?
See, my college number is 66. So my college number was 66, and 66 books in the Bible. So somebody was like, yeah, I think you did this, So technically, scientifically, it's 60 to 61 days. However, what I include is that first 5 days, that first week when it starts, getting past the bumpy roads. That's why I say 66 days to make that transformational change. And it works. See, when I was in uni 36 years ago, right? So, I was 19 when I started 35 years ago. I was still in uni then. But the neuroplasticity studies were just beginning at that time. And man, look, they just come to completion the past 12 to 14, 18 months, and it's phenomenal. The very same thing that we hypothesized back then has been proven, that gray matter can redevelop. Brain structures can be reconstructed. You can relearn. The whole old dog's new trick thing, nah, man, that ain't true at all.
So you said your background was in neuroscience. Was it neuroscience?
Yeah, neurological science is what my bachelor's degree is in.
So what did you? Yeah, you went to college, university, and you studied the brain.
Yeah, the brain and the body. Yeah.
Really, actually, so you're fully qualified to actually talk about this, in that, you know what you're on about. This isn't just you haven't heard this on a podcast.
No. But like I said, the beautiful part of it is we were on the front end. I mean, because one of my professors, a guy called Robert Shalak, he was world renowned. I had no idea. I mean, this guy was the smartest person I ever met in my life. He could tell you every synapse, every receptor site, every neurological code for what drug, what rest. I mean, he was so far above and beyond where we were. It was unbelievable. And he couldn't sit down and have this conversation to save his life. I mean, the common sense wise was out the table. But he was brilliant. He was a brilliant guy. And he began that research back then. He's dead now. He's long gone. But he began that research. And now you're starting to find all the neuroplasticity studies over the last really 24 months. And to make a long story short, man, the brilliant science caught up with the Bible, to be honest with you. Because the whole Renewed 66, the whole renewed book is based on Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's there. So that's the beautiful part of that now. When you come from a Christian perspective and a pastoral perspective, it was over here the whole time, but let's put this into practical application today. So
what I find is, especially with sort of religious scripture, stuff like that, it's all based around stories. And I find that stories stick with you in your memory much longer, and you can learn the lessons from the stories much easier than if that guy slapped down a textbook and said, here's the science of the brain. Yeah. No one's going to remember that, but you can put it into a story, and that's sort of what I think it's got a bigger appeal. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you're a neuroscience or you haven't got a brain. You can understand the story. And you get the
majority, there's 27 books in the New Testament, right? 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 some of those books are letters. They're letters, all right? And then when you look at the preservation part of it with the King James, the way it's written, you're going to learn more. It's going to stick with you in the King James rather than, because grammatically it's just posed to do that, whereas the modern versions aren't. I mean, some of them, there's actually a computer score called the Flesch-Kincaid Readability Score. And all the modern works that they've done, which are based on ill transcripts, every one of those works that are when the computer, it's a non-biased computer, it comes out as just grammatically 12th and 13th and 14th grade reading level, whereas you'll need a 7th grade reading level to understand the King James. 7th grade's like a 12-year-old, 12, 13-year-old. So
yeah, but I think I heard a stat before, something like 50% of the population have a reading level of, say, like a 14-year-old and below. Yep. Like you need to be hitting those. So if you're missing out on 50% of the population just by writing
a modern version.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely you are. It's phenomenal. It's just, and again, it's been around for 400 something years, man. Our country here, our country, your country. Well, it's my country now. I'm a citizen now. And
it's your country too. It's your country too.
We produced it and put it around the world. So, hey, here it is. And it's still the best-selling book of all time.
Yeah, bro. What's the biggest lesson that you learned? You studied neurology. What's the biggest lesson that you learned in studying neurology about the brain, and how did you take that into your life as sort of actions that you take to see the benefit or progress?
Adaptability. Adaptability is the biggest key, probably the biggest thing that I learned about the brain. The brain, we use such a small part of it, but the power that we have of our brain, neurologically speaking, biologically speaking, every central aspect of it is the adaptability of the brain, because it's built to survive, okay? So, our fight or flight is produced by cortisol. So up of our levels are cortisol, and here's what happens. So you take choices we make every day. If we start becoming that critical person, and we complain and complain, and we're complaining about, the government here and the speed limit here, and I'll be honest with you, I complain about the speed limit. I hate it. But once we start focusing on everything that is negative and complain, our cortisol level rises. And what happens is it converts our brain, it physiologically changes our brain, and it weakens the adaptability. All right, so we lose inflection, we lose compartmentalization, we lose adjustability and adaptability throughout the day. And here's the reality. If you're going to survive in this world today, your brain has to adapt. We have to come down to the idea of work the problem. The problem is presented, I have a choice to make. I can either complain about the problem, rise the cortisol levels, change the physiology of my brain, and make it weaken, or make it weaker than it was, and decrease the ability to adapt, or I can be where my feet are, right here. I'm in the moment right here now. I can look at the problem. I can address the issue, and step by step by step, I can begin to work that problem, work that issue to where now we've lowered cortisol level and our brain becomes more adaptable in our life. So adaptability is the greatest lesson that I've ever learned about the brain, especially through school and experience.
And can you tie that to a Bible verse or a Bible proverb or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, number one, Romans 12:2 that we mentioned just a moment ago, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So your brain can adapt, and you can renew that mind. You can put that into places that you need to. Now, how do you do that? Here's where we come. There's the what we can do. You can renew the mind. You can change the mind. You can alter the way it works, and you can improve it. How do we do that? Philippians 4:8. Paul says, think on these things. And he lists a series of things that are just, things that are true, things that are lovely, things that are of good report, things that are honest, okay? So here's the deal about the brain. Here's the trick. You can't have two thoughts at the same time. So if I was to describe to you a gray submarine, I want you to think about a gray nuclear submarine. It's going through the water. It's traveling at about 20 knots right now, and that's what it's doing. It's continuing to move. The lights are on red, and it's just moving along doing its work. You got that picture in your mind, right?
Okay.
So we see that thing. It's moving, right? Okay. Now I want you to think about a pink pansy.
Okay.
All right. How fast is that submarine moving?
Almost stationary, I think. I can't remember.
It was 20 knots.
You did say, did you?
I did say 20 knots. You can't think of, we cannot think of two things at the same time. I know we say, well, we're multitaskers. No, you're not. We're either doing one thing at 100%, two things at 50-50, three things, you see what I'm saying? We can't think on one thing 100% of the time. We can't think on two things 100% of the time and get focused to it. So what is Paul saying in Philippians 4:8? When something negative comes in, all right, 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, sorry, shake it off. What is lovely? I start thinking about something that's like, what is true? Think about something that's true. What is a good report? What is honest? What is just? What is pure? You see what I'm saying? And that's how you bring those thoughts, those critical negative thoughts that are rising the cortisol level. That's how you bring them back into something that is positive and keeps your life thinking in the way that it should be, changing the way you think as opposed to going to that default of negativity.
Maintains that adaptability then, and maintains that adaptability. What's one truth about CrossFit, Hyrox, fitness that everyone repeats that you found is completely wrong in the real world?
Thinking they can skip a workout and be just as good tomorrow as they were yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Would you call that a rest day?
No, beyond a rest day. I think you should have rest days. We should train 5 days a week, should have 2 days rest. We should do that, or 4 days, 3 days rest, whatever it may be. But what I mean by saying that is, I'll just skip this leg day today, or I'll skip bench today, or I'll skip, whatever today. I'll just pick it back up next week, for no other reason than a rest day, okay? People think that they'll be able to pick up where they left off and have no cost with it. You're going to have a cost. It may be a good cost. Could be at times. I personally believe that you should have your rest days. You should have 2 rest days a week. I think you should have 2 rest days a week that you don't even go into the gym. We have this whole ideology of active rest day, and somebody comes in and they row 5,000 meters. That's not an active rest day. It's called a workout, And we should have our rest days. But beyond that, people think that they can come off and skip a particular day and then still be where they want to be in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or a 12-week block. That's simply not going to happen. Training and working out in the gym, whether it be from the connections, whether it be from stress management, whether it be from nutrition, whether it be from movement, all 4 of those things are really tied in with consistency. The more consistent we are, the more disciplined and dedicated we are, the greater the benefits that we're going to see. And so I think the hidden part of that is I can skip today and still be where I need to be. You won't be. It may be an acceptable cost. Maybe you need to skip that day. But if you're just doing it because you hit the snooze button,
just to have that extra 20 minutes in bed, you're going to be
if you hit this, my philosophy is this: you hit the snooze button, you're weak.
Really? How'd you wake up?
You get up out of bed, man.
Straight away?
The alarm goes off at 4, you get up, push through that. All you have to do is 30 seconds. Yeah, you get through 30 seconds, you're done, man. Get up and go. You're good to go.
See, I do. I have 3 snoozes. You're gonna hate this. So if I need to get up at 6:30, my alarm goes off at 6, and then 6:09, because the snooze is always 9 minutes. I don't know why. It's like standard set. Then 18, and then 27, and then I'm up. So I need that to wake up. But I think because I heard someone told me before, countdown. If you count down in your head, so the alarm wakes you up, and then you count down from 10, and you go, when I hit 1, I'm getting up. And I tried it once, And it bloody worked. I went 10, 9, 8, 1. Got up and I was like, that worked. I'm up.
You're a wake up. It's a wake up process. Yeah. You're not hitting snooze though.
I wasn't hitting snooze that time.
That'll work. I just get up. I get up because I'm just going to pull the panty and do it.
I can imagine like some sort of like Frankenstein, just sit up, like I'm ready to go.
Just get up and go, man. The thing about the snooze button, here's the trick about the snooze button. You hit the snooze button and we think we're getting extra sleep, but you're not, because the sleep cycle is 90 minutes. So you have to restart that, and then all of a sudden in 9 minutes it goes off again. And so the brain the snooze button is detrimental. So
I have heard that, because you can sort of be in a deeper sleep 9 minutes time because you've restarted that sleep cycle.
You restart that sleep cycle and you never hit what you need to hit. Yeah. There's a great book by a guy called Dr. Nick Harris. It's, I Know What to Do, So Why Don't I Do It? And he was he was a professor at the University of Bath. He was a neurological immunologist. Guy's tremendous. If you like that kind of reading, I do. It's a tremendous book to read. He's actually moved over to the States. It's a British guy, moved over to the States, and he trains the FBI. He trains all these guys for stress management and things like that. They have all the metrics and the data on there. But it's a phenomenal book to read on how the brain works. He even says that if you're going to take a nap in the day, which he actually suggests people should take that, he says it should be 90 minutes, and when you get up, you do everything that you normally do in the morning time. So like if you shower after, when you get up out of bed, he says, get up, take a shower, brush your teeth, do this. And he said, that's the way to do it,
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, if you have the time of the day to do that. I don't, but.
yeah. Get back in the shower, eat your cereal as well, whatever you're doing. Yeah. What's something that people completely, what are people overlooking that could completely change their progress in fitness?
Time management is probably going to be one of the things. And that's just one of them that's going to be a part of a few. But I think people overlook time management because what they look at is when can I squeeze the gym in, as opposed to let me work my day out to where I can be at the gym and I can be at the school and I can be at work and I can be at the bank and I can be what I need to do every single day, and to move things around. That's the one thing I think that people miss, is the time management aspect. And we do live in a world today that has a weaker time management than anything. We seem like we're a busy society. Much of that is produced by social media and constant contact and, always needing to be in touch with one another. I think that's something, it's not real, but I think it's there as a pressure on the outside, so people feel conflicted about their time management. If you can do what you normally do every single day, so let's say you're going to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday, and then you're in that same class at 9:30 or the 8 o'clock or the 7 o'clock, you're in that same class, your life and your body gets into a schedule and a routine. Mm-hmm. So routines are a blessing. They are a benefit to us. They help us. They're not only that, they give us security. So I think one of the elements that people are missing is time management. Now that ties into the secondary reason. People are filling their days with a lot of busy work today, more than probably they ever have been, from after-school activities, from parental activities, from this and that and the other. And there's a problem for that because we begin to be pulled in all sorts of directions. And you cannot do 5 and 6 and 7 things efficiently, at the same time. Jim Collins says that if you have more than three priorities in business, and I transfer this into life, you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. And so you have to look at life in a prioritization packet to where those 3 priorities will fit into your everyday life. That's where time management comes in, the one package that people are probably missing. The trickle-down effect of that is going to be the nutrition. It's going to be the strength. It's going to be the cardiovascular system. It's going to be the water intake. It's going to be all the things that take place in that column, if you will, of priorities. But it starts with that time management.
Yeah. And what's the simple thing that people can do to get a hold of that?
Cut out what you don't need. I mentioned earlier about my prioritization between what is urgent, emergent, and important. Everybody's important. Every human, every person, every soul on the planet today are important. Their needs are important, and who they are is important. But everything and everyone at a given period of time is not emergent or urgent, and you have to break those down. And so when you begin to break down urgent, emergent, and importance, you know where you can put them through the day. So yeah, you know what? Shopping on Thursday before school lets out, that's probably important. Can I shift that to an 8 o'clock, or can I shift that to after the school run? Can I shift that here on a Thursday, which is my rest day from the gym, I'm just being, just saying this. If I can shift that time from here and move it, that's my rest day. I'm not in the gym. I drop the kids off. Then I go to do the shopping rather than the afternoon. You see what I'm saying? And now I got the afternoon where I can pick the kids up. We're back home. Dinner's made. House is cleaned. I'm ready to go. You got to decide what is important, urgent, emergent, and urgent. Because the reality is, if something's truly urgent, it has to be done.
Yeah.
There's no argument. There's no shifting that to Thursday. You do it today. If it's emergent, that means it comes before urgent. It comes before something else. And you have to be able to make that situation. My life is scheduled, but the moment I get a church member or something, or even a gym member that goes to the hospital, that now becomes emergent. I'm going to go visit with them. I'm going to see how they're doing. Anything I can do to help out? Does your family need anything? Do we need to take meals? Things along that line. And you have to have that time. And then you shift the urgent down and the important moves to the side. So time management is a key, I think, that people miss, that if they would apply appropriately, it would benefit them in the gym. It benefit them everywhere, to be honest with you, but in the gym especially.
You want to see? I live my life by my calendar. Like everything's scheduled, even almost down to run bath, brush teeth. You want to see it. It's all different colors, all labeled, all categorized. I love it. It's the only way I can function. Yeah. But you have to have a handle on your bloody life. Yeah. Otherwise, your life has a handle on you. And
that's wise words there. I like that.
I made that up. That'd be a new T-shirt now. Next year. What's your most unpopular training opinion then that would actually give people an unfair advantage? And you can't say cheating.
Unfair advantage and not cheating. So PEDs. I mean, I guess that's probably a pet hate of mine. I would say, yeah. Of course, I know in a world today, I grew up in a world where people were doing steroids and doing things like that. That it was like, you kept it quiet. Nobody said anything at all. Today, it's just out. It's spoken out in the open, and which is fine. I mean, that's what people want to do. I don't know. I've really never thought about it. I don't look at anything as an unfair advantage. Mm-hmm. I look at people, we're born differently. We have different qualities, not better than the other one. We have a particular guy, bloke in the gym, that he's just a genetic specimen, he really is. He's like, and I partnered him up or teamed him up with a new guy in the gym today. And I was like, I told him, I'm sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm sorry right now. He ended up having a tremendous time.
I hope you're not talking about my brother now. No. Yeah, referring to him as a genetic specimen.
But we do. And again, but I don't look at that as being unfair. I look at that as being a blessing. That's just how it is. I went to the same high school as Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, honestly, is the guy who did not have to practice. He could show up on a Saturday or Sunday, NFL on the Sunday, or college on a Saturday, and beat everyone. He was the fastest. He's the greatest cornerback in American football that's ever played the game. Okay, but here's the reality: he had the greatest work ethic on the Florida State University's team. He never quit working. And to this day, he's still working, coaching at the University of Colorado. A good mate of mine's coaching with him. Look at that. He has a God-gifted talent, He has a God-gifted, ability about it, and he's putting it to good use. Others have to work a little bit harder. They have to train a little bit harder. They may never get to that level, but I've never really looked at anything like that as an unfair advantage. I mean, I look at Rob. Rob is as strong as a house. I mean, the guy can still get up underneath, 280, 300 kilos on the squat, and same with the deadlift, and, he's just got a natural ability to deadlift and to squat and like that. And I look at that as just being a gift. It's a blessing. So I don't see it as unfair.
Yeah, I like it. So it's not unfair. It's a fair advantage. And it sounds to me that it's almost like that work ethic could be that thing that you're referring to there. It's like, put the work in, and that will give you the advantage. Yeah. There's no cheat codes. Put the work in and you can get it.
It's funny, character building. One of the things I've always refused to do is I refuse to take shortcuts walking somewhere. So if you notice, if you're at the gym, you're walking down the pavement, get ready to turn to the car park there, you'll see there's a little path on the grass. I refuse to walk in that. There's a couple of reasons. I don't want mud on my shoes. That's number one, all right? But it's a shortcut. I think it's a character flaw. Now, for those listening who do that, I'm not sorry. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, I'm not trying to offend you, but I believe in walking the path. Walk the path that is set before you. Be who you are. Be where your feet are so that you can be better tomorrow than you are today. And there is no shortcut out there that's going to get you where you need to be in the weeks to come. You just have to keep putting one step in front of the other.
And you said something about you. It's who you are. I'm not a shortcut taker. I will walk the path. Then you're getting more steps in. Then you're losing more weight. Then you're getting fitter. So like there's benefits. It all trickles down and knocks up. Yeah. What's the future then for BJ? What are you doing in the next year?
The next year, I'm going to continue what I'm doing. We'll keep digging, keep trying to make lives better, keep planting churches, keep preaching, teaching, keep helping in the schools. I'm going to keep coaching by God's grace. I'm going to be here next year and hopefully be stronger, and hopefully be better than I am right now. But, I will say this. I learned a long time ago. My plan was to live and die. We had 55 acres in Tennessee. I was planning on being buried on that property and divvying it up before I died to my children, have a little neighborhood family there. That was my plan. And as you can see, I'm living in Wales. I'm in Cardiff right now.
Poor sod.
Yeah, I think it's a compliment because I'm in the center of God's will and where He wants me to be. And right now, my plan is to take care of today, and then I'll get up in the morning and take care of tomorrow. But I'm going to live this day today where my feet are and focus on where I am right now. So tomorrow, I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I'm taking care of right now today. But my plan is to do what God wants me to do every single day, help out where I can, and hopefully make a difference. I just want to make a difference in the world. That's about all I want to do. And it starts with me doing it today. And I hope I'm doing it a year from now, right here.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Where can people follow you? Where can people buy your books? Where can people go see you in the gym? Or where can people go and see you in the church?
So the website, my website for the books, and it's got devotions on it. It has all kinds of litany information on it. It's just my name.com. It's bjstagner.com. They can get the books there, the devotions, our challenges there. We actually just started a new 66-day challenge this past Monday in the front end of February. That's been a blessing. That's going on. So they can get all the books off of there, all the information there, all the devotions. Our churches, we have two churches. We have one up in the Cunnin Valley in Aberraman. Our church is at 22 Lewis Street in Aberraman. We meet there on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. Our Cardiff church, we meet at the Mysecoid Community Center on Sunday night at 17:55, which means 6 o'clock. But 17:55 is our start time. We usually try to say, but that is Sunday evenings. Both of them are Calvary Baptist churches. One is called Calvary Baptist Church of Cunnin Valley, and the other one's called Calvary Baptist Church of Cardiff. And I'm in the gym most days. So I coach on Thursday mornings and Friday nights. Love Friday nights. That's a wonderful time. Get to really spend time with the people. But I'm typically there in the morning times almost every day, obviously except for Wednesdays and Sundays. And so I'm always around. I'm not hard to find.
BJ, that was fantastic. Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. My pleasure. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the episode. If you found value in it, please leave us a review or drop us a comment below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video next, so click there. Go on. Give it a click.